live on Facebook. And then I'm going to start the recording. On commence les filles là. Je commence mon Zoom.
Vas-y.
Okay. Okay, let's accept everyone. Hi, Gary.
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Hello, Gary.
I'm doing well. How everybody else good?
Very well. Yes.
Absolutely.
Like everybody's arriving.
We're all arriving at the same
Oh my
time.
God, this is going to be so exciting. I'm like, oh, I can feel the frequency of the room getting higher. This is so cool.
Do you guys see Bevan getting on?
Yes. Hi, Vivian. How are you? Hi, Iris.
Hi.
Well, Iris was meant to be with me here in the same room, actually, but I think she managed to find some connection. That's great.
Yes.
Fantastic. So cool. Okay. I think because of the holiday, we might have a lot of people that might not be coming over or joining. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes before a few of the people really check out. Oh, cool. Hi, Angie. I love it when people connect from all over the world. This is so fabulous.
Oh.
You want to say hi?
Hi, Kiki. There she is.
Say hi.
Yeah, she's so far away. Oh my God, she's so cute.
Oh,
A little light language baby.
Yeah.
So fabulous.
Magic.
Well, Iris was.
There she is.
Fantastic. God, we all have to meet in San Francisco or nearby at one point. We should organize like a retreat or something.
That Bevan's in British Columbia.
Yeah, well, she can. I'm traveling from France with a few other people,
yeah.
and she can travel from British Columbia, and we can meet in Sedona or something.
I would love to go to Sedona.
I want to go to Sedona, and I think the vibration over there are kind of impressive. So
We have to organize a retreat between Michelle, Penelope, and I.
Yes.
And whether Sedona, New Mexico, there's some powerful places.
New Mexico could be fun too. But Sedona is really something that I'm looking forward to. So I've been dreaming about it for a while. Anyhow, so shall we start and see who's going to join? It's like Friday night. Most of them are probably going to watch the replay. They're in flight, going on holidays or weekends, whatever. Michelle, do you want to clear the space?
Yeah, certainly.
So I'm going to explain for the one that do not know. We clear the space before starting the session, and yeah, we start from there.
So there's two different ways that I can clear the space. I can do that using light language and centering it, or I can do what I did last time, which is how I start my client sessions, which is bringing in all of the beings that want to support us. So I have two choices there. What do you think feels the most appropriate for this moment?
I like
Beings.
the beings.
They love it. They show up in droves. It's pretty good.
Okay, before we start, can I ask you guys to mute yourself, and you will unmute yourself when you want to talk, when you want to ask questions. And of course, there's a chat if you need to ask questions or if you want to talk same thing, you know, just ask your question in the chat or raise your hand or unmute yourself and yeah, and feel free to ask anything you want. Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay,
Fantastic.
perfect.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll zip through it a little quickly. All right, so O winged ones, the dragons, the fireflies, great white Pegasus, she dragonfly, Lucy sweet hummingbird, flap your wings to make the wind on our face. Eagle condor lead the way. O pod ones, jaguar snow leopard, Marguerite lovely cheetah, come paw around our circle. Join us, beloved finned ones, ye dolphin pod, siren sister mermaids, wise whales, come sing us your song. O serpent, show us how to slither so easily out of our skin, so that we may begin again and again. Great sequoias of this land, ground our earthly bodies of existence in the ways that you have existed for thousands of years. Teach us how to be of this earth as if home couldn't be anywhere but here. Galactic councils, star families, 5D, 7D, 9D, 12D densities. Show us how to live a multidimensional existence so that the riches of this lifetime and our true soul potential can come forward in all aspects with crystalline clarity. Show us, help us, upgrade, download, transmit your wisdom and knowledge to us so seamlessly so that we remember all our abilities and who we truly are. Ascended masters who have walked this earth many lives before, during, and after this calling to you. Please show us an easier, more divine alignment that will allow us to serve others in this great awakening of ascension. Archangels, deities, gods, goddesses, and elementals, watch over us, allow us to feel your wings, your breath, your protection, your wisdom, your magic. Initiate, seed, open the possibilities so that we can carry on the grace of your gifts as you see fit. O great all, being of no thing and everything, creator, creatrix, one from whom we are all ignited. Let us feel ourselves, see ourselves, be ourselves in the one true source of oneness. Let us shed all that rings of separation. Let us see that we are creation. Please walk us now to the doorway of the highest version of ourselves that are available to us in this moment of divine nonlinear time. Thank you.
Thanks. Great.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. So for the one who will write during this clearing of space, ask any question in the chat or raise your hand and everything. We're going to channel the energy of the now. We started speaking about it a little before. And then we're going to start the Q&A and the mini coaching if anyone wants to be coached by the three of us. And we'll start from there. So what we, Michelle and I channeled this week and we experienced this week, it was very much about the topic that might be the topic of the day. And yeah, maybe a little more than this week, actually, in the last 10 days, it's setting the boundaries. And it's a massive topic. I had a massive download, but one knows about it, about teaching material, about setting the boundaries. And while I was writing this teaching material, I realized that a lot of us do not even set the boundaries for ourselves. And especially when we go on holiday, there's 2 times of the year, summer holiday and Christmas holiday, where setting the boundaries are absolutely a must, definitely a must.
Yep. Penelope froze. There's the internet issue in Spain. Well,
all right.
let me see.
Benoit, do you want to put in your stamp on this boundaries or containers or relationships and friends?
I can see the
there we go.
Penelope,
we lost you. You just came back. We lost you.
Sorry. So I was saying setting the boundaries through communication, allowing to hold space for yourself and from the other is really a beautiful key. Beautiful key. So this is what, yeah. Michelle, do you want to add up or Benoit?
I was just going to add that I was lucky enough to be with Penelope in Paris recently. and came back about a week ago, I think, or less than that. It goes so fast. And got to practice this setting the boundaries quite a bit, and the giving permission to Penelope to just remind me in the moment when it's important. And it's amazing, as somebody who I always feel really comfortable around with anybody, to realize how much I'm giving of myself without setting boundaries, and which it costs in the end, energetically, emotionally, and manifests, and in weird ways that are uncomfortable. Let's put it this way. So I'm grateful for the work that I've been doing with Penelope, and then to realize that generally when I have to work on something, so does the rest of humanity. So looking forward to going around that topic today.
So one of the things that I see with my clients is when they walk in the door, if it's clients that I haven't worked with before, I can see on them hundreds and hundreds of open channels and pieces of other beings and constructs and groups that they're affiliated with. I can just see all of this sort of crowding their own energy field. And that's from not having set energetic boundaries. So there's there's different versions of boundaries here. And most of us are taught early on that having boundaries is not kind. We're taught, like, at all costs, meet someone not taught what what it is to have energy, or to have actually boundaries that you speak of. But when we're not waking up each day and having what's sort of the energetic hygiene, where we are clearing and setting the stage each day, you're already starting sort of in the hole, in a way that you're carrying from other days. So one of the things that I do with clients when I first start in is I clear all of the energy off of them, and they're like, oh, I feel like a new person. And that's something that's really available for everyone, to have a very basic protocol of this energetic hygiene. And I actually learned this from a colleague of mine who I'm taking a wonderful course from, called SMGI, Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery. And she has taught this piece that I now do in between clients. I do it in the morning, and I can share it either later, I can share it now, but it's sort of how to just take back your own energy and to send them back their energy. So when it feels relevant, it's like a 45-second protocol. When it feels appropriate, I can share that in this call.
Yeah, I think it's cool if you share it. It's very nice.
So it's that it's just something that you say out loud, and it's any energy of mine that I've given out to anyone else, I call that energy back to me now. And I call it back cleansed, cleared, and transmuted, returning to me for my highest good and the highest good of all. And I return back to all others any of their energy that I've taken on, and I send it back to them, cleansed, cleared, and transmuted, returning to them for their highest good and the highest good of all. And I now dissolve any tendrils between myself and any others. And then I fill up any of the spots where those tendrils were with my soul-sourced human self, returning me to wholeness.
Oh my God, this is incredible, because I had this same thing. That was like I think it was almost a year ago. And it was somebody that was teaching that, but more into sexual, because I think as a sexual level, it's even stronger to do it like on a regular, every time, for people who have like even the same partner or a different partner, to do this protocol every time, because the sexual energy being the strongest one, it's very important to think about that even more for like just, normal, casual relationship or work relationship, or it's a beautiful protocol, and I think it works very, very well. So completely aligned with that. And I learned that from someone in Thailand.
Beautiful. And I've also, learned this over time and sort of peer checked it with my colleagues that sexual energy takes a little over a year to actually pull apart. And so it's even more important to be really mindful of who you're sharing that energy with, because that is, even if from a mind perspective, it's feeling casual, from an energetic perspective, it's really not. So there's a lot.
But when I said casual, I didn't say like casual sex or something.
No,
Casual sex partner. It was like someone that you cross in the street, or but it works with everyone, and just bringing awareness on who you're meeting with, who you're connecting with, the frequency of the person you're connecting with, and also how you're going to protect yourself from that, and what you want to allow to enter in your field.
Definitely.
And sometimes when you're not conscious about it, it's very important to use this protocol, and to take the habit of doing it over and over and over, whether, as we said, it's with friends, or meeting people at a cocktail party, or if it's on a sexual level.
And everything carries a frequency and energy. So the same thing as far as clearing spaces, clearing items. If I, get something, let's say at a secondhand store, I clear that as well, because everything holds an imprint of anyone that, that it's, that's held that. And it's all very easy. Some people understand sage, but there's other very easy ways to clear energy as well. You can do that with singing bowls. You can just do it like I did, where you speak into it to clear that energy. So to constantly making sure that the things around you are in a state of neutrality. And even with my own things, because the energy that I had from yesterday or the day before last week is of a different frequency, possibly than where I am now. So constantly clearing even your own stuff is the easiest way to always be in a state of being able to up level regularly and raise your own frequency, is letting go of your own things from where you were.
Yeah, and that's something you can definitely include into setting your boundaries for yourself. Like, I want to keep my energy for myself and not to give it away to other people, because if I give my energy to other people, I give my power away also. So it's allowing it. Okay, I'm going to allow myself today. I'm going to give my time, to that person, but that amount of time. So create some timeline, and it's not controlling. It's just respecting yourself. So to give this energy, or to receive, or to accept to receive someone else's energy, okay, I'm accepting and allowing myself to receive this energy for this amount of time. I know it's going to drain me a little bit. Okay, how am I going to bring some awareness to this experience so I will not be drained?
I always like to bring the very basic example of how animals react when we touch them, to their energy, just to show that how important is that exchange of energy. That's when you pet a dog, the first thing that the dog will do as soon as you're done petting it is going to shake to release that energy immediately, even though the dog really loved all the caring and the love that we give them, but they release that energy because it's not theirs. And that's the best way to give us some humility in accepting the fact that it's okay to that somebody else will release our energy. It's not going to affect my ego. And so I believe humanity has still those little ego perspective.
There's something coming up as it's almost like trust. We have been taught to listen to the boundaries of others, or older people, or people that are more experienced, but we haven't been taught to set our own boundaries. So like trust, we've been taught to trust, someone that's been studying more, at university, went to Harvard, or the grandfather, because he's older, so more experienced and everything, but you haven't been taught to trust yourself. And same thing with the boundaries, I don't recall my parents teaching me to set my own boundaries. Okay, where do you want to, what is the line that you will not accept this or that? So, yeah.
I'd like to chime in. Hello,
Sure.
everybody. I'm Jean-Pierre.
Hi, Jean-Pierre.
Hello.
Hello.
Salut. I think there's a key component here that's and it's discernment. discernment and trusting, discernment and boundary setting. And Benoit, what you were just saying a second ago about the animals, there's another aspect of when they're experiencing like a severe trauma, like they're, you know, like in the wild, there's an example of a antelope being trapped by a cat, and the antelope plays dead, and miraculously isn't eaten, but when the lion or the cat leaves, there's a few moments where the animal is just still, and then all of a sudden it gets up and it shakes, and that's, animals know how to release trauma easily, because once that occurs, that antelope just went about its business. So it's you know, in terms of the spiritual hygiene that we're talking about here, it's like brushing your teeth. You know, it's like every day, twice a day.
Exactly.
Because I do it in the morning, I do it at night, and as all of you have said so far about, you know, and Michelle saying about the, you know, I mean, we're awash in energy, and in these times right now, where the activation of trauma is at its peak because of what's going on in the world due to the lockdowns and all the craziness that's going on, you know, CERN being activated, you know, that could possibly have effects in the 4D with the astral. It's uber important to have, you know, these setting these kind of boundaries and you know, spiritual hygiene practices as a part of you know, keeping oneself sane in this world, and you know, recognizing the connections that we do have with each other on the various planes of existence, and how we affect those and how those are affect us, and you know, it's pretty amazing. So.
And thank you so much for bringing it back to the animals again, because I really believe that we are animals. I like to say I am an animal, and I am alive, I am an animal, and I'm just being human. And like, I like to go back to my animal source, and I learn from the animals. I'm very close to dogs, and I just like to do, and that's my energy release. It works. It's amazing. It's this instant forgiveness and energy release, and I just, whatever happened, I give it back to you, and what's mine is mine, and we go in peace.
I have a comment about the boundaries, if it's okay to share at this point. Penelope, you look like you wanted to say something, though. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, just go on. I'm
Okay.
listening.
So I feel like part of the issue with people not feeling comfortable about setting their boundaries is that we are all taught early on that if you say a no or you hear a no, that it's going to be a negative experience for the other person. And sometimes when we hear a no, we take that very personally as a someone, you know, turning away from us, or someone disregarding us, or disapproval, or you know, there's so many things about the no. And I think that there's an opportunity, and I've been seeing this more and more, where we're able to retool how we see no's, and that we can embrace them, and that we can see them not as something negative or something that you're shying away from, and as a way that you can celebrate someone else being in their own self-care, and that being okay, and you seeing that as an okay thing. So I was at an event a couple of weeks ago where the first hour of the event was games that had to do with boundaries, and they were really beautiful. And the entire point to the games was to set the stage in the evening early on, that you would hear no a lot, but you would be desensitized to not having a visceral reaction to it, as someone, you know, disregarding you or turning away from you. And so the first event, or the first game, was that you grabbed a partner. It had to be someone you didn't know, and they would say 3 things to you in a row. Would you allow me to put my hand on your shoulder? And the other person had to say, no. And you had to just sit with that. And they had to sit with their no. And there couldn't be any other words. There couldn't be any explanation. No people pleasing allowed around, no, but here's why. And it's not personal. You just had to sit with the no. And the other person's job was to say, thank you. Thank you for the no. And the next one was, you know, would you walk to the kitchen with me to get some food? No. You say, thank you. I'm glad you're honoring your own boundaries. And so it was just a variety of these games around hearing no over and over again, and making it a playful and fun experience, that their no is just good information. It's not, their no isn't necessarily a negative thing for you. It's all just good information. And so I do believe that there's so much we can do and play with around allowing people, Jean-Pierre just put this in the chat, around allowing people to handle your no, giving them the gift of trust that I'm going to tell you my no, and I trust that you are going to take care of yourself, and I'm not going to have to explain to you why it's a no for me. There's just so much opportunity for us to walk further into curiosity and not see it as this negative thing. And then we can also see, it can teach us where people's no's are so that we can walk inside of those no's, or we can get playful with it and see where their edges are. There's so much to be learned in understanding how people are and where they operate and what is okay with them by dancing around it and not shying away from the no's.
And it's also, you know, for example, for children, you know, if you look at children, to say no to children will help them a lot, and is going to help us a lot also as parents to set those boundaries of no, you're allowed to do that, you're not allowed to do that. It's very aligned with that too. But I like what you said about, am I allowed to put my hand on your shoulder? No. And same thing with energy clearing, you know, you're not allowed to do it unless you have the approval of the person. So you cannot, you know, if you have therapists that are going to do energy clearing on you or on someone else, or you ask them, can you do my son or my sister or something, or my boyfriend, or because that's happened a lot, I feel like you've got some toxic stuff, do not accept, because it's not allowed under the cosmic law. And that's something I repeat over and over. This is very important. You are not allowed to do an energy clearing. And that's setting a boundaries also to someone that is not giving their approval for that. And a lot of therapists do so. I don't know what's happening to them and to, you know, I don't know what the impact on that, but setting the boundaries of, okay, I take my responsibility for my own things. And this is also boundaries, you know, taking your own responsibility, the responsibilities, not blaming the others, not doing people pleasing, because setting boundaries is going to help you also sorting out those saving, pleasing the parents, pleasing the other people. It's really going to give you a lot of freedom.
Yeah, I'd like to add that saying no and receiving the no is can be a function of honoring yourself and honoring the other person. You know, being in a space of, yeah, okay, I hear you, and I think this is really important in like an intimate relationship, where, you know, certain elements of the relationship dynamic can be taken for granted. You know, even like, you know, the example of, you know, can I touch your shoulder? You know, can I touch you? Can I give you a hug? Right? No, and it's like, I remember some of my experiences before I kind of just came into my own awareness. I'm a big hugger. I love to hug, but, you know, I look back and I see that there was, you know, through my naivete, that, you know, not everyone is going to receive a hug, and I make an assumption that well, why wouldn't you want a hug? And without even asking, or, you know, finding out, you know what, I can't be touched right now for whatever reason, you know, I'm in a different space, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
And remember, you do not have to justify yourself.
Right.
Also, we've been taught by the education that the parents, where are you going? What time are you coming back from school? Da, 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 da. So it's kind of, this belief is deep inside us to justify ourselves. This is completely, excuse my French, fucked up. You don't have to justify yourself. If you feel like a no, you don't have to say why.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's from the perspective of someone who's doing the action and the receiver saying no, that, oh, okay, that's okay. I accept your no. I can handle your no. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's an interesting dynamic.
There is a great practice that I've learned from Byron Katie. I don't know if you know this wonderful lady. She and it's very simple to be able to go in the streets and deal with panhandlers. And when they ask for money, to look at them in the eyes, say thank you for asking, and no. And saying that from the heart. And the more I do it, the easier it gets. There's definitely great resistance at the beginning.
Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking, but no.
Yeah.
Not but, and no.
And no.
And no.
Right. Both and.
Right. There's another piece that I was gonna ask Bevan to speak on, which is when we don't set boundaries, there's a cleanup that needs to be done, and sometimes it's much more extreme than what I did here with the energy exchange and calling back. And I do have clients who come in who've maybe been in really difficult relationships for years with let's say it's an empath narcissist dynamic, or it's a parent who had very poor boundaries as they were growing up, and that I will see in their energetic system that not just other people's energy that they're taking on, but that their entire energetic field and their light body will be almost deconstructed and then compartmentalized, and their whole system will be in these little boxes where they're not a whole energy system that's running. Their chakras aren't even talking to each other. They do not have that toroidal field happening. They just don't have a cohesive system. And so if it's something outside of my scope, I will send them to Bevan, I'm hoping she'll be willing
Bevan,
on the
spot
for me to have her explain a little bit about what she does and just the way that she sort of reconstructs people's energy field and some of the different types of removals she has to do. So I'm hoping this is okay that I'm asking her to speak on this.
Let me add you to the spotlight. Are you okay for me to add me to the spotlight, Bevan?
Yeah, I'm okay. I don't mind being in the spotlight.
Cool. Right.
I just want to say I thought that the topic today was really funny because right before this call, I set a boundary with Michelle saying that I couldn't show up because I had to practice self-care because it's my baby's nap time. And then I showed up anyways, and it's about boundaries. So I thought that was really great. So what Michelle is talking about, and me and her have had some even extreme cases where it's like the person even has two light bodies, or they have some like very, very extreme tentacles or like tendrils coming from a narcissistic parent, and extreme courting. And you actually have to go through like an entire shamanic ceremony, like a shamanic death, and to remove these tendrils you have to go into the other realms, and you have to set up really strong and clear energetic boundaries, and you have to reclaim your sovereignty and your power. And it just goes very, very, very deep. And it's sad because most people are not even aware that this type of, I'm just going to call it abuse, is making it so that their chakras aren't even talking to each other or turned on and working, and they're just wondering like, why am I not able to access my intuition, or why am I always getting hit up against a wall? And it's usually always because of these really deep tendrils that I'd say like 95% of people just are not even aware of or can't even see.
And I'm going to add something to that, is for narcissistic relationship, they also, after it's over, they they are able to continue to send you and to trap you into their own cords. So that's why it's very, very important for every narcissistic relationship to cut this cord, but not into the simplest way, to go deep into that and to do it with help. Ask for help, ask for like serious people who are going to help you to do it.
Yeah, and angelic help is usually kind of a necessary step, but also some people I've seen have soul cords coming from past relationships, like 10 years past, so deep that that soul cord is actually traveling into their parents. So those ones have been interesting to clean up too. And then depending on the level of merging that those two people did in that relationship, it can actually send trauma from their past partner into their parent, or it can send limiting beliefs and
to
all
the children
kinds of stuff.
and to the children. And
well,
remember that if you cut it for you, if you cut those cords and toxic things for you, you cut it for your children automatically. So that's the cool thing to do.
I like that. Yeah.
So there's always people you can reach out, like Bevin, like Michelle, like me, to help you to do this clearing. And Nasira, that is on our team too, but she doesn't speak English, but we do the translation for her. So there's plenty of people that can help out. Thank you, Bevin.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Bevin.
Anyone has some question about that who would like to participate? About setting boundaries?
Nope.
Everybody's shy today.
Questions or comments, or maybe we can start to open it to other topics then. If
certainly, yes.
Okay, so any other question, not about setting boundaries? Oh, but you were saying, Michelle, right before, it's something that I also saw, but I didn't mention it. It's those issue with relationship, communication relationship or something like that. Because I experienced the same thing also recently.
So there's different pieces to this, and one of the aspects that I see that even when people from a mindful perspective want to have boundaries, but for some reason they keep hitting up against it and they can't, it's often because there are we each have an auric field, and there's like a meshing of your auric field, and depending on how loose it is or how tight it is, even if you have the best intentions or you speak something and you find that people are still not respecting your boundaries, or you're taking on a lot, or it feels like your container is really small, there's a couple different aspects to that. One is the level of sensitivity that people have. There's a lot of highly sensitive psychic people, or people with high psychic abilities, walking through the world that don't realize that's what it is. They think they're just in a bad mood for their entire lives. And it's often that they don't realize that they're taking on other people's energy. They're taking on the energy of the collective. And what it creates are these containers where they're right up against their own auric field. And then people who have those experiences often, we each take up a certain amount of room in our auric field and in our energy body. And people who are introverts, or who do have their, that are highly sensitive people, they tend to take up less space when they're introverts. And what that means is that someone else's energy is going to be butted up right against theirs. So it's like they're always, really close to that hot stove, I'll call it. So it's actually far better to take up more space in your auric field and to push that energy out to give you another, I'll say 18 inches. And so I work with people to say, you can kind of feel where your own energy body is. You can almost put your hands out and feel it. You can usually feel it in your hands, the temperature of it, or you can walk towards another person, each having your hands out, and you can feel where your energy bodies touch. So it's kind of interesting to play with that. Even people who aren't necessarily in the same understandings that I am, let's say, about things that I talk about in realms and all these other things, they can usually feel where someone else's energy is. Or you can hold your hands together and feel where your own energy field is. And then you can kind of pull it and it feels almost like taffy. You can play with that. And then as far as the auric field, where I was saying that people have different levels of meshing, you can kind of just think about it and change where you're, you know, how tightly woven your auric field is. So I'll sometimes give the example of, like, think about this candy called a Jordan almond, where it's got this hard candy coating on the, you know, outside of it. And you can play with that as well as just really shoring up your own auric field and making it so that as you move through the world, not only are you making it larger, where you're giving yourself 18 inches or so, but you're really visualizing that it's got a very tight mesh to it. And that helps with being around other people, being in large crowds. I often enjoy showing people how to do this when they're going to be around in-laws. That's typically one that, you know, is a great tool. Another thing that I will say that helps people who, let's say, are not familiar with energy work, they can't really necessarily understand some of the language that I'm using, is I'll say, pick a color for yourself and then pick another color for the other person. And think that you can only stay that color, they can only stay their color, and the two colors can't mix. So I'll pick green. I used to pick my, you know, in-law as brown. That would be her color. And so I'd say, here's my green, here's her brown. And just even being in the same room with her, if I could just stay in my own color field, visualize her as hers, even if there was what would have typically been really murky boundaries, that visualization was tremendous. It helped a lot, you know. Another piece is that when I say to people, put a bubble around yourself, think of yourself as inside this. But I tell them to use clear or iridescent. So it's not keeping them from the world. It's this safe, beautiful, like, if you think of when you're blowing bubbles, it's almost got this rainbow iridescence to it, the sheen you can see on a bubble. There's ways that you can have these boundaries that aren't just all feel so hard, you know, that feel like work. You can do it with this bit of magic. And I use this with children as well, is think that you're in your bubble, they're in their bubble, and just get used to being in the world as separate from people and not this version that we've been taught, which is that enmeshment is how we relate or love or have intimacy. But we're all much better off staying in our own energy fields and then interacting from people from within that contained energy field.
I have this thing that sometimes, like, you know, really, I love hugging. I love, you know, certain people. I want, you know, I feel like, okay, because I love them, I want to hug them. But there's this energy where the hug doesn't work with those people, and I love them. So it's this frustration between being a human and having this, you know, human desire of hugging, but that the energy doesn't work. The energy body or something. It's just like, cannot hug. But I love them really deep in my heart. It's gonna do the hug. So how do you deal with that?
Well, I think it's some of those original conversations that we had. I think really, if we don't make them negative, it's like your yes, their no can still have this silly, fun aspect to it, where if you go to hug someone and you're like, wow, we're not really clicking into place, we're not really, you know, having a groove here. But there's some dialogue about it up front. When my daughter started kindergarten, they had this thing that they taught them, which is, you know, HHH. And you got to say every morning to your teacher, do you want a hug, a handshake, or a high five? And it was giving them options of how they can drop in and connect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love this thing.
They'll have these boundaries. So if you are someone who loves hugging, I usually would then say, like, hey, I'm a hugger. What are you? And then you can allow everybody to be what they are, and they can say, I'll be over here in the corner, and you just wave to me. And all is welcome and all is accepted. And then they're not put up against those like awkward moment of like the hug and the person's like, oh God, hurry, you know?
But I'm not a hugger with everyone. You know, just like with certain people.
Yeah.
Some people's like, yay.
I think basically if we can just have a lot more playfulness and some games and some silliness around just differences and it working for everybody and everything being allowed.
I was going to add another perspective to the same thing. And I call it another perspective because I really want to say that I'm saying the same thing that we're talking about. And I like to look at this bubble around me as a sphere that is the reality that I manifest from my heart. And so I'm not protecting myself. It's not a shield. I found, again, from this perspective, I really am the master of the reality that I experience. And so everything that manifests around me and with the support of the collective it's in alignment with my intentions, with my desires, my true wants. And so from there, I operate from love. So I have no fears. And so to explain why there's no need for protection, because I'm the one who's controlling that reality with my higher self and operating from my heart and not my head, where all the fears reside, and just living in love from my heart. And so this how I love to visualize this sphere. And again, where nothing can come in that is not invited, because again, this is the reality that I create. And that's it. That's the perspective I wanted to offer.
Yeah, something that's coming up right now is about unconditional love, also because you mentioned a little bit that between lines. And a lot of people think that unconditional love is loving everything. And conditional love is loving yourself unconditionally without judging yourself, with all the respect, with the boundaries towards yourself and everything. And being aware of that really helps a lot with those energy, with those, of course, the boundaries, and with, getting yourself free. It's when you love yourself unconditionally without judging, you can grow much faster. And that's really, really helpful to remember that. And it's not like loving everything. It's not like, oh, I'm into unconditional love, let's surrender to the experience. Okay, I'm just in front of a tiger. What am I going to do? I surrender to the experience. No, because I'm in unconditional love with the tiger. No way. No, setting the boundaries is like run as fast as you can. It's just being aware of your fears and listening to your fears is also setting the boundaries. It's something like that.
And then another way to present unconditional love is I like to use the what I know as the third universal law, which is the law of allowing, just allowing everything to be, allowing what is to be, and accepting everything to be as it is, and before the judgment.
Yeah, but if you accept everything, you like into this surrendering, and this is something that for me happens a lot into some cult. It's like you surrender to, you accept the experience, every experience. No, it's like I took this example. Yeah.
No, I understand that. And again, it's not against, it doesn't contradict what you're saying. This is just the law of allowing is simply that, even like if somebody is killing somebody in front of me, this is the fact, this is the data. So I'm allow reality to be in the moment. Now I can do something about it, but allowing to be is just, I can't deny this is what's happening in front of me. It's just, that's only accepting everything as it is.
What is triggering me here is accepting everything. Because this is very much so into this, well, you don't have a choice to accept the experience, right? But you have the choice on how you want to react to the experience.
Yeah, that's probably why it's called allowing. It is another layer. Another level.
Yeah, it's using your free will to see, okay, how I'm going to react to that experience, how I'm going to choose to experience this situation in this moment.
Yes.
But that's why it's sometimes those texts, which are most of the time beautiful region, they can be very misinterpreted.
Oh, yes.
And that's what's happening in some cults, where suddenly it's like allowing everything to happen. It's like allowing, okay, I surrender to every single experience because I'm allowing it. No, that doesn't work. Oh, yeah, I feel like raping you. What do you think about that? Yeah, sure. Let's do it. No, that doesn't work. That's setting boundaries. No, I don't want to have that experience. So that's why sometimes the text, and it's someone who told me there's always two sides on everything, and I really grateful about that. And there's more than just two sides to every single thought or saying or quote or experience, because it can be interpreted on so many levels, everything. So it can be black, white, it can be gray, it can be colorful, it can be like everything. So that's why we should not judge with one idea.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have a question. When you are not setting your protection shield, for example, in places where a lot of people are, where you're surrounded by, and you are depleted of your energy, how can you recharge your energy in these cases? Because you have forgotten to set your boundaries. If it's like virtual or spiritual or physically, and then you come home and you're totally depleted. So I was wondering how you can recover from that or recharge.
Well, there's many things that's first doing this very quick, like energy clearing. That's a way to recharge. There's anchoring. So if you have a garden, you can walk on grass. You can have like also taking shower, meditating. I mean, there's so many, like doing the sage. There's so many things, and you can call on light. You can call on light to fill you up, and I'm sure Michelle can give us a lot others, and Benoit also, and Devin. And there's many ways to recharge yourself. And I feel like first is to set the intention on reclaiming your energy and recharging yourself. Just fill yourself with love and light. And allowing yourself to be tired and to be drained, and understanding that experience. Okay, I learned something. I forgot to put my shield. I forgot to protect myself. I forgot to set my boundaries. Oh, I wanted to leave at 11 o'clock, and just staying there for like an hour or two, and then I stayed until 2 a.m, and the day after you're going to be drained because you didn't listen to your boundaries, the boundaries you set with yourself. So it's also learning from that experience, and sometimes it's because you're going to be drained of that energy that's going to grow, that you are going to grow from that experience.
Thank you.
Michelle, you want to add something? Benoit?
Yeah, there's a sequencing piece to it, which is that you, if you do have, like I was saying, there's a porousness in your energy field, or there's holes or tears. First, to get yourself back to a solid state where you are saying, I'm asking for help and guidance right now, and shoring up so that I am a closed container, a closed loop, I would call it. And then from there, you would send down like a grounding cord to, send it to the center of the earth to be more grounded and more embodied. And then at the beginning of the call, I talked about an energetic hygiene that you can do. And it's just something you'd say out loud in order to call back all your own energy, return any energy you've taken on from, particularly, let's say you're at a concert or something, returning that energy each to anyone who you took it on from. And then typically from the crown of your head, there's also above your crown chakra, which there's something called a soul star chakra. And that's your 12th chakra that's not often talked about. And that's a beacon that it looks like a many pointed star. And that is a place where you can pull light through. You can pull it through the crown of your head as well, through your crown chakra. But when you pull it through this soul star chakra that's got all these points, everywhere where there is a point, you're pulling energy from all of those points. And that's a very quick and very impactful way to fill yourself with your own soul sourced energy, life force energy. And that also you can ask to be asked to bring in as well other beneficial energy. You know, angelic frequency is beautiful for that. Christ consciousness, which is the universal oneness, law of one, pulling in that energy is incredible. And you'll feel it just spilling into you. It's this really beautiful experience when you mindfully call that in. That's why it's important though that you had started with closing your own container. Otherwise it just flows into you and flows right out if your energy field isn't closed and intact. Yeah, and then I also really love guided meditations. There's a genius, incredible human that I listen to on YouTube regularly. His name's Steve Nobel. And he has
we'll put it under the YouTube replay.
And he has hundreds and hundreds of guided meditations that are labeled very, very well. I've listened to his guided meditations thousands of times in the last 3 to 4 years, and I can always find just the right one to help me with whatever is going on. He's amazing. I always recommend him, his free YouTube guided meditations to people as well.
Thank you. And if, for example, this person doesn't resonate for you for a reason or another, just find your own guided meditation. It's all about frequency. So whatever you need into the now moment.
And so I was going to add my own little, if I find myself depleted of energy, like you said, and I've opened myself too much and shared much and I'm completely drained. So something that I do very, very quickly and is just visualize myself, reposition myself in my coordinates and in the field, in the unified field, is in the cosmos, basically. Just starting from my heart center and connect with the earth. Same thing as visualizing a cord to the center of the earth, and then connect with the sky through the crown chakra and that star chakra that's Michelle spoke about, and then connecting with the 4 directions, simply 6 directions, and 7th direction is within, and I just position myself in the center and I visualize the 6 directions pointing within, and ultimately at that point I can feel the energy that's flowing through my heart, and then I can see it go above my head through the crown chakra, like the Ankh, the Egyptian Ankh, and go back down to my heart and just feel that energy flow. That's what reactivates the machine. And so I can do all this very quickly. With practice, I know how to connect to the 6th direction and then point within and then just feel that flow of energy. All this, with practice, again, is something I can visualize and then happens right in the moment. That's how to get the energy started. And then if you have more time, then do all the protocols. There we go, just a quick.
But I like this one of anchoring and seeing the roots of every single cells going to the earth and then connecting to the light and to the cosmic energy. And if you have, for those people who have the tendency to be drained by energy and to be tired when you wake up in the morning, I really recommend you do that every morning. Make it a routine. Even, you just put, you step down from the bed and you do that right away. It takes like less than a minute. So really recommend to do so. And you can do so also for people who meditate a lot. During meditation, a lot of people, their astral body is getting out. So it's really important to, when you get it back, to re-anchor yourself after meditation. It doesn't happen for everyone, but for some of the people it does. So time is flying by. It's been almost it's been an hour that we've been together. And if anyone has a question, it's time to ask your questions now. Otherwise, we're going to go to see what messages is coming through for the collective, right? So for this summer, until the 22nd of August, at least. So how shall we do it?
Any comments, questions?
No? Okay. So how should we do the oof. There's so many people channeling here. I feel like I'm having a lot of information coming through because there's a lot of people getting information right now. I can hear it. I hear a message about being patient, really being patient during the holiday season this summer. I'm surprised. So patience towards yourself, patience also with everything that's going to happen around, in the world. Yeah, like delays and things not happening the way that you're expecting, not as planned.
I see Gary.
Gary.
Gary's agreeing, yes.
I really see, yeah, it's really, I see the being patient, this word like flashing in front of me a lot. Didn't expect that. Okay, I'm like hoping on holiday, different places on holiday this summer. So like, okay, what does it mean? All my plans are going to be changed and delayed and stuff. I don't know.
I see a lot of signs pointing to major events, whatever it is, coming up very, very soon. And definitely in the heart of the summer, and could be next week for all I know. And whatever it is, enough to shake the consciousness of humanity, hopefully to support our ascension to higher consciousness as a collective. And so that's in line with the message that Penelope is getting about us to be patient, not just with ourselves, but with everybody else through this transformation that needs to happen. And for us to really, for humanity to regain its freedom, I would say. So for it's a calling for the people who have done the work and who can find peace to support those who will experience this great chaos from being faced with whatever reality is going to appear in front of us. And I really have no idea what it is. I just know that all the signs are pointing to some major event coming up.
And also, the guides are giving us the message as the collective is able to hear those messages. So it's bit by pieces. So we may not get all the information, we just get pieces of information. And then it's up to your own interpretation, and don't get attached to, do not get attached to things. Take it with, take it with patience. Michelle, do you want to add?
Yeah, so the information that I'm hearing to share is related to the patience, and that's the interpretation of actually slowing way down. And so things are moving in general. Things are really sped up right now. Things are happening quickly. Timelines are dropping out. New ones are coming in. Lots of activations, lots of deaths to certain aspects of your life and partnerships and ways of being in the world. And the sort of analytical overlay that happens around our minds trying to quickly keep up and going to assumptions and solutions really quickly. And in order to do the counterbalance of that is slowing way down. And so when you have those quick, massive, quick fire thoughts, to say, okay, Ododo, thank you for the thoughts. And then you kind of just set them aside and you slow down to go, where in my body do I feel this? How is this landing in my cells? And then pointing or feeling into where's that hitting me, and going more into the energy body. And then from the energy body, taking this massive pause, almost like you can pull time apart. I've said this before in here. I think you can pull time apart like taffy a little bit, just pause and then see where it lands. And then from that point, you can sort of interpret the information more from this high heart thinking, which is an overall systematic knowing that we have, instead of these, thoughts that are spinning in our mind. So to sort of, as you take that pause, you can, drop into it and then see where it's landing. And then your navigation is happening from a deeper knowing than these rapid fire thoughts that are taking place.
Yeah, I was saying into the yoga class that I was giving Monday, I think, to listen, and it's a Tao thing, but to listen from the silence, not listening to the silence, but listening from the silence. By slowing down, you can listen from the silence, from the inner self. And it's really beautiful when the message you can receive is like, and you can connect in a much better way with your intuition instead of connecting with your mind and make the difference. Is it my ego or is it my intuition? To really go and more depth with what you have to experience. So yeah. Anybody else, or Bevan, or who wants to share something on channeling into the energy for this next month? Bevan's still here?
Yeah, she's still there.
She's still there.
Okay.
I'm
looking
still here.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that this is exactly what's been happening to me the last 3 days. Is like a huge issue will come up and I'll have so many thoughts flying, bombarding me everywhere. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to put all of that on the back burner and I'm just going to relax for a little while and see what happens and just let the universe surprise and delight me with that.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It's yeah.
I was going to say that brings up a good point. It's just a reminder that, again, I like to look at the perspective of us being the creators of our reality. And this is times of ascension where the energy is vibrating, of the frequencies are vibrating faster. It's the best way I can say it, that we manifest faster. So whatever negative thoughts we're going to hold, we're going to bring them into our reality faster than ever. And so being at peace is the only solution, to just be in the flow, in the moment, and letting the support that we get naturally from the universe enter our reality with more ease. And go ahead, Penelope.
Yeah, I was hearing it like the more you're going to slow down and being able to listen from the silence, the more you're going to be able to set intention and to see when they manifest. And that's how it's going to actually be faster. So it's kind of this, you're going to experience this duality where the time is going to be faster, like Michelle was saying, the timelines crumbling and everything. And time kind of, you feel like it's accelerating, and your days that used to be 24 hours, you feel like it's only like 13, 14 hours. And at the same time, if you slow down, you will be able to experience much more things, like multiple reality at the same time, so to be able to actually do even more than if you were rushing yourself. So, and I don't know, we spoke about that. I don't know if we did into the last quantum conversation, but I know we did into the Quantum Mondays in French about those dream into multiple reality. And it's also the same thing when you wake up and you remember your dream. Just slow down, remember, try to write it down and try to see what kind of the messages that came along with the streams, and see if they repeat, and and see if they're more like clearing energy dreams, and they're probably more real than ever. I don't know your experience with you guys, but mine are like super, super clear, and with multiple reality dreams, which is more often than ever. Also, pretty much like every night now, or every 2 nights.
And for me, I've gone from not remembering dreams, having very little recollection of my dreams, if any, to now remembering my dreams every night, that's the big change.
And a very, very, very vivid dream. That was the word that I was looking for. Extremely vivid dreams. And it's almost like it's real, but you have those kind of different experiences at the same time in the dreams. It's kind of odd at the beginning, but then you surrender to the experience. Like, okay, let's see what are the messages. So, yeah, cool. Anyone wants to add something? No? Okay. Well, so thank you very much for everyone to join us on a Friday night. Next quantum conversation will be on a Monday, on the 22nd of August. We're very much looking forward to see you then and to share new topics, which we have no idea what it's going to be about. But yeah, we're very much looking forward to that. So we love you all. And thanks again for your trust and love and light.
Thanks for joining us.